Miss Courtney Dillon at CourtneyDillon.com. How are you? And my boy, Erik, how are you?
Erik, he says, hi, Mom. He's been waiting, and I'm good. I'm feeling ready for spring. So I'm getting excited.
I think this is we passed our last cold snap, I'm hoping. So anyway, Courtney and I were going to do part 2 of Jeffrey Epstein, but you know, this Ukrainian thing has just really blown up. And we also have another figure whose name I can't pronounce that we had on Courtney's docket. But, you know, we're going to try
We'll save it.
Yeah, we'll save it. This seems to be, I mean, people are scared. And of course, that just fuels everything. But Erik, I've got a bunch of questions for the community, but do you want to start off and let us know what you know?
Yeah, he wants me to, sorry, just really quickly, I want to mention that I have a spring equinox workshop coming up the 19th. And I want to give all the Channeling Erik peeps a 20% off code, and the code is Erik20. So we'll put that, maybe you could write that below or something.
Yeah, Paula will do it. Oh, I thought you do that for the YouTube live, but okay, good.
Oh, sorry. Thank
you for reminding me.
Okay. All right. So let's see. What does he want to say? So he says, thank you for being here today. He wants us to look at the conflict today with an open heart. So that's the first thing that he's mentioning. He shows me an image of hearts opening, and to observe what it brings up in you, because there is actually, it's awful. And so we're not going to sit here and say like, this is great, or this is positive or anything like that. It's not. But there's an opportunity here, he says, to open your heart and transmute within yourself the conflict energies in your life. And that is what is going to help shift the planet. Because I think one of the things he's sharing is that we turn on the news, or we are bombarded by all these sources of news. You know, some of it, we can talk about that. It's a different topic, but we can feel overwhelmed, disempowered, and like there's nothing we can do when we see these sort of graphic or horrific images. And to remember right now in this time of great awakening that we can use all pain as a way to shift ourselves. So that's like the first really kind of like overarching message that, as I was talking to him before, before we got on today. So.
Okay. For me, this, when I open my heart up to this conflict, it makes me think about how we have an opportunity to unify humanity under one flag, the flag of individual freedom. And, you know, we can just ignore race and gender and all that kind of stuff, political affiliation, and just, you know, unify for one of the biggest things the soul needs is the freedom to express itself in the way and to live in the way that we are born to live.
Yeah, he says absolutely.
The truckers, the Virginia.
It's all happening. It's all mirroring each other. He's showing me. It's all kind of, not kind of. It is all, he wants to take out kind of. It is coming up for a very important reason. We are being gifted the opportunity to observe within ourselves the parts of us that do not feel free, that do not feel seen, that feel disempowered. We have the opportunity through this experience, even though it is tremendously painful, to understand we are all one, we are all from rather the same source. Yeah. So what happens over here can't just be over here anymore.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. What happens over here can't just be over there happening to them. We use these events as opportunities to open our hearts, to help our neighbors, to transmute within ourselves that which is holding us back from shining our light.
Yeah, it seems like the theme lately is the battle of David and Goliath. It's us common people versus the big oligarchs and the global elite, the deep state. Is this our opportunity to take down that establishment, the corrupt, evil establishment, deep state, global elite, etc.?
We are at a collective choice point, he calls it. Mm-hmm. We are coming out of a period of, and he's using like a term like power over structure, power under structure. Mm-hmm. We are coming out of this point. So it's happening. We notice it. We're just observing it, right? One of the things that he wants me to mention today that's really important is that when we're shifting our consciousness. So yes, that's part of the shift of consciousness is coming into our divine human sovereignty. And these structures, these power over structures will automatically, or that's not exactly the right word he wants me to say, will fall as a result of these world events. But it's important to observe our energy that on a daily basis. Are we coming from a place of needing to fight against something? Are we matching the same energy that we are observing? Right? That's really, really important here, because we might see something and it might activate something within us. And are we matching that energy, or are we coming from an empowered place? And that is and he wants people to really understand the difference here, because that's super important. We need to understand the difference. Yeah. Are we matching the fight? Are we matching the anger? Are we matching the hatred, the vileness? Yeah. Are we seeing even those who are attacking, are we seeing them as less than God? Yeah. Right? And if we are, then it's just giving us an opportunity to observe within ourselves that which needs to be transmuted, essentially. Mm-hmm.
Right. That we need to, even in this circumstance, we need to live life with love. I mean, I'll give you an example. It's kind of funny. This Russian tank in Ukraine broke down, and a Ukrainian trucker stopped and said, "Hey, you broke down?" "Yeah, no, we ran out of fuel." "All right, you want me to tow you back to Russia?" and the Russian troops just started laughing. So an elderly Ukrainians are, saying, "Why, Russian soldiers, are you doing this?" This? And they're like, "We don't really know." They're very confused. All right, well, we got a lot of questions, so I better move forward. Okay. Any messages, Erik, from Putin's higher self right now?
Let me ask to bring him in a second.
Oh, yeah, okay. Surprise.
Okay. That's okay. I don't feel any strong messages from Putin's higher self at the moment. Let's see if he comes in. Okay. So let's start with the questions and then.
Okay, we'll do that. Okay. Is something wrong with him mentally? Is he? People say he's unhinged. Is something wrong with him mentally? My doctor said that he might have Parkinson's, and then I don't know what's wrong. Is something wrong with Vladimir Putin mentally, physically?
Yeah. He says, yes, it is grandiosity. Like there's some type of mental disorder where has a complex of grandiosity. Bipolar, yeah, something like that.
Right.
It doesn't feel bipolar exactly, but it feels very like he's just misperceives himself very strongly. In which he has these sort of grandeur ideas and sees himself as
sociopath, narcissist. Yeah, definitely.
Narcissist. Yes. So
has he changed mentally? Like, does he have something different now? Condoleezza Rice said he's not the same Putin that she remembers.
because what he's doing right now is weird. He's showing me kind of like a scan of his brain, and it does appear to have something. I don't understand what it is, but something's odd about it or off. And so it does feel like he is struggling with some brain, like a brain health crisis.
Okay.
Yeah. So there is something going on.
Related. I don't know. I mean, his whole family had COVID. He won't admit that if he did or not, but was there any other way Putin could, this is my first question, I'm just not getting to it. Was there any other way Putin could have been stopped before striking?
No, it says because he was intent on doing this. We see this as an event as, some people rather see this event as sort of like out of the blue or disconnected from the larger trajectory, but this has been, he shows me, building for months and months and years actually. And so not really, because it was, in his mind, the attack was a foregone conclusion.
What was his motivation? What's his ultimate drive in this?
Power hungry, and to create like a unified Russia, which he considers it unified. He uses the word, okay, that must be, I'm talking to Putin also, but it doesn't feel like his higher self. It feels like him on a, just him, his soul rather. I hear the word unified, strengthen. It's almost like that idea of like an empire,
to reconstitute the Soviet Union, basically.
Basically, I mean, he's not going to call it that exactly, but he wants to return to the power and grandeur in his mind of the Soviet Union.
The glory days. Was this an act of free will, or is this some sort of divine spiritual contract of Putin's?
This is 100% free will.
Wow. I've heard from 2 other American mediums that there are sacred grounds and galactic portals in Ukraine. And this is one of the reasons Putin wants to take this beautiful country. Is it true? Or does he even know about that? First of all, are they there?
Yes, they are there. It feels interesting. I'm sorry, I haven't spent much time looking at the galactic portals in Ukraine as we were talking about this, but yes, that is true. He is not aware, what I'm hearing, on a conscious level of that. He's much more driven by money, power, like increasing his scope. That's what I'm hearing.
Does he have any alien DNA, reptilian, or is he influenced by any aliens? Is there anything like non-benevolent aliens or alien hybrids influencing him?
Not consciously, no. So one of the things, interesting. Erik says, with some of these people in power, they don't know exactly who they work for. Even at that level of power, they aren't 100% aware of who they work for. Like the structures for whom they work are often hidden or cloaked still. And he's not consciously aware of that, but there are influences, at play here that are trying to intensify this conflict, to intensify conflict on a global scale. Does that make sense?
Are reptilians involved? Insectoids, manta species? Anything in particular?
It feels reptilian involvement. Yes, that's true. And it feels like he just keeps going up the chain of command. So yeah, there's non-beneficial beings involved.
Is he reptilian, or has reptilian?
Does he have reptilian? No, I get a no on that.
All right. Is it true that there was a Russian genocide in Donbass going on? And is that the real reason Putin started the war in Ukraine? Or is it a lie like some people who actually come from Ukraine are saying? Genocide, Russian genocide in Donbass.
I get a yes was happening. Thank you.
Okay.
But that doesn't feel like the entire reason. No.
Okay, gotcha. What about those groups of right extremists we have heard about in Ukraine? Are those stories true? I don't know anything about that. Is the CIA supporting them? Right extremists.
Right extremists. Yes, there are right. Well, yes, there are right extremists.
I don't know what that means.
I don't really either. He's trying to explain it to me, but I don't have the. We might have to kind of move on because I don't really.
Okay,
understand.
That's fine. I don't know. I don't know what they stand for anyway. Ukraine is Europe's #1 producing of uranium ore and titanium ore. Is that part of the motivation for Putin?
Yes, and he wants the person who wrote that question to expand into the world. Like there's motivation for those resources on a world stage, right? And so, yes, that's part of Putin's motivation. And yes, that's part of the motivation. There's controlling influences in the world who want or are in a grab that, they're like grabbing for resources, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So.
All right. So Biden, when he first got into office, he cut the Keystone pipeline and he also lifted sanctions on the Nord Stream 2 pipeline and made us energy dependent, and then asked in the name of the green planet, and then asked Russia to sell us more of their dirtier fossil fuels. Why is that? Does Russia and even Ukraine have some dirt on Biden or his son Hunter?
So he just has a big smile on his face. And he's going like this.
Okay, so some of this foreign policy is that Biden is making is to protect himself and some dirty secrets, skeletons in his closet.
He says this: many people in positions of great power have skeletons in their closet right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. In Ukraine, I hear a lot of money laundering, child trafficking involving U.S. and Europe. Biden himself brags about changing the democratically elected Ukrainian government. Also, Ukraine is a rich country. Intentions of the West is not that great for Ukraine, and they keep blaming Russia for everything else. Tell us the truth, Erik. What is really happening?
It was a really long-winded question.
I'm trying to figure it out. Okay. So Ukraine is not innocent. Okay, they're involved in money laundering, child trafficking, etc. Okay.
Well, he says he wants to address that.
Okay.
There are very few countries in the world that are innocent in this regard right now.
Yeah.
So it's a problem to a degree that I think will be uncovered in the next few years, right?
Okay. All right. Is it true, according to Russian media, it is Ukrainian extremists who bomb people, houses, schools to make Russia look bad, and Russia targets only military objects? Ooh.
No, I get a no on that.
Okay. What was in that giant bonfire of documents Ukrainian soldiers were burning near an intelligence building in Kyiv the day Russia invaded? Was this about the dirty business dealings with Obama and Biden? Did Biden order it to cover up money laundering? Or was it about obtaining nukes? I mean, what was the documents that were being burned near an intelligence building?
Okay, let me tune into the intelligence building. Hold on.
Yeah.
So it's various topics actually, and what shows me a pot and it's like it's boiling, but it's about to boil over, and various government, and let's call what's in the pot like secrets and information, that's about to come out. And so there's various governmental structures around the world trying to hold the lid on this pot. And it's not working that well in some ways, because, you know, he reminds us that we're in a time of, it's the energy of truth, you know. No matter, so no matter what is trying to stay hidden, trying to be kept secret, trying to be cloaked, it will come out. And the thing is, you know, it sounds almost ironic to say we're in the energy of truth, because there's so many mistruths happening, you know, it's just a lot of that. But the harder that the energy of truth, it's like an energy, and it's trying to it's purging everything in the world. And the harder that, I mean, the more that this happens, the more that it's trying to be clamped down on. Does that make sense? So that's really the what we're witnessing, but it's very disorienting and confusing for the human at the moment.
Obama, did he have any dirty, of course, you know, everybody is innocent until proven guilty, but Obama, did he have some dirty business dealings in Ukraine?
I hear no. I don't
Hunter. I know Hunter did, I'm pretty sure. Well, I'll let
he just shows me skeletons in a closet.
Okay. All right.
So yes.
In the first session, this invasion was considered a first step. Was the step a good or bad move for humanity?
This is not a good move for humanity.
Okay. What would it take for Putin to order a surprise first strike of nuclear weapons anywhere, and of course on America too?
Well, here's the thing, that he does not want people to get in fear about this possibility or strengthen this possibility in a collective sense.
Right.
Okay. Right. Even if this is a possibility, which he's not saying that there's not some threat here, but we've got to be very mindful. We can see the energy, we can discern, we can see the information, but he wants us to stay in our power and not create it, because he shows me, like, you know, however many people will watch this, quite a few people, right? And to not kind of be creating that as a timeline.
Okay, the mailman came to the door.
It's okay.
They started barking. Oh my God. All right. So what is the percent probability, quantum probability now of some sort of nuclear attack?
That's not going to be a probability.
Okay.
Because one of the things we have to remember that this world, Earth, Gaia, is not just a planet that if we destroy it, it's okay. We have the keys to the living library. We have, you know, there's a lot of stake that we evolve here from other galactic races, you know, as you know. Yeah.
All right. Will Russia invade or attack in any way any other countries?
It looks like there's a possibility for Belarus.
Belarus, they're pro-Russia. But will Belarus send soldiers into another country?
Oh, maybe that's what he's trying to say. He's showing me Belarus. I don't know that much about Belarus. I'm sorry.
I don't either.
So I feel like, you know, that they could, there's going to be more here. It looks like
beyond
here's the thing. We're kind of like teetering on these two possibilities at the moment, and hopefully it the more beneficial possibility would that this conflict, not that this is great at all, but it remains within the Ukraine, and then they like somehow work it out. Not that that's not the best, but the other probability is that this spreads farther and wider with an intent to create a really strong Russia, by bringing other, so there would be, in that case, there would be more armed conflict.
Will this include NATO member countries?
So it does feel like that's a possibility. But it would be good for the rest of the world to, it's such a bad possibility if we get involved in it in a world level.
Yeah, world war level.
Yeah.
I know. So we don't want to think about it, but then these are questions that are very honest and open. Is there a possibility that NATO forces will have to enter into this conflict?
Yes, there is a possibility here.
Okay. Will U.S. forces become involved above and beyond sending lethal aid, humanitarian aid, etc.?
So right now, the highest probability, because again, we're just looking at options here, is that the U.S. remains outside of this conflict other than sending aid. If there is an attack of some sort on the US unprovoked, then that kind of comes into a possibility, more of a strong possibility. And by attack, it feels more like a cyber something.
Cyber attack. Okay.
Yeah. Not like a nuclear, more cyber oriented.
Okay.
So
will there be any deaths or other attacks on U.S. soil?
From his perspective in this moment,
that's all we can say, guys.
Yeah.
It can change, free will.
Okay. Yeah. From his perspective in this moment, he does not see fighting on U.S. soil related to this conflict.
Will Ukraine be defeated ultimately? At this moment in time, snapshot.
Do not underestimate the spirit and will of the Ukrainian people.
Right. Is Zelensky going to live?
It does look like he will live through this. I hear that he's being protected by a higher order.
Oh, good. Is freezing Putin's bank accounts, is that a real measure or is it a farce? And would harsher sanctions be more effective and therefore imposed?
So it will affect him. One of the things that he's mentioning is that sanctions have a tendency to affect common people. Yeah. And so that's a concern here, that it would affect, just everyday people. Yeah. So they're trying to impose sanctions that affect Putin himself. If that makes sense. Mm-hmm.
Now, Russia provides natural gas to 40% of Europe. Will Russia cut it off? I don't know. That's how he's funding this attack, really, is sales of oil and gas. But
that's not likely at this moment that he'll cut it off.
Will Biden reverse his anti-fossil fuel policies so that we can deliver natural gas and oil to Europe and also just return to energy independence and then worry about the Green Deal later? Will he do that?
Not at the moment. No, that is not part of his intention.
Why? Why does he want us to be dependent on Russian dirtier fuel, or does he?
Erik, yeah, who's dirtier? Who is dirtier, the United States or Russia?
No, the oil itself, it burns.
No, I know, but there is.
I know.
That's what he's saying. It's like, right? We can look at them and point the finger, but our government is
full of dirt.
Right. So he shows me a door and he says it's a back door, and there's back door interests here to remain involved with this oil. If that makes sense.
Mean?
What did you say? I'm sorry.
You mean one more time?
So there's like backdoor interests here is what I'm hearing.
Interest in what? In remaining dependent on?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Now, will this, since Russia invaded Ukraine, will this make it more likely for China to invade Taiwan?
That is a possibility. Yeah, they're it's almost like they are just waiting for the moment.
They're watching how the world responds to what Putin has done. The Russian soldiers, are they all on board with this? Or are they just
no?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
There's a lot of resistance in Russia. The Russian people a lot of people are resisting this. They're saying that this is not representative of their desires, their government, et cetera, et cetera. So no, this is not the entire country agrees or anything like that at all. And it's the same with the soldiers. It looks like there is a split down the middle pretty evenly. It could be something like 60-40, but that about 60% agree on some level with this and feel that this is an important thing to do. And about 40% of the soldiers do not necessarily agree with this at all.
Okay. Everybody's texting me. All right.
You're popular.
These are yes or no questions about who might get involved. And I think almost all, or maybe all of these are NATO members. Is there a high likelihood of the following becoming involved? Italy, yes or no?
So
like NATO.
Okay, I'll just say, but he wants the caveat to be, it depends, because we are teetering. It's like a seesaw right now, right?
Okay.
And we're really teetering on these two timelines. And one is much more destructive for the world than the other one.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. How do we transmute it though? Let's go back to that. How do we stay in our power? How do we stay in what we need to work on in our lives? How do we heal ourselves as humans? That will help this entire world. He wants to, okay. Italy, yes,
France.
possible. Yes, possible.
Spain.
Yes, possible.
Sweden.
No, it doesn't feel like Sweden. No.
Finland.
No.
South Africa.
No.
United Kingdom.
Possible.
Okay. Is the invasion a diversion from something else that the powers that be, don't want anyone to know is happening at the same time period?
Diversion. Yes and no is the answer. Yes, because a lot of what we're seeing in yes, in that there are things under the surface. Again, the pots, they're trying to keep the lid on the pot.
Yes.
Right? Once the lid comes off, it's like, it's going to be wild, right? Yeah. And it's coming off. It's like, it has no other option. So that's part of it. The second part is that this is a real catastrophe. This is a real event happening to real people, breaking families apart and killing people. So that's, it's not to just see it as this farce, right? Does that make sense?
No.
And he's not saying that we're talking about it that way. He just wants everybody to be clear about that.
Would Putin be capable of doing a first nuclear strike under any circumstances other than mutual destruction? And are there enough extraterrestrials on watch that would be able to stop a nuclear strike?
Yes, he's capable of it, and it does not feel that is going to happen. It's possible.
Okay.
Visions of grandiosity.
Nuts. Is there a chance he'll be assassinated? That's the easiest way to go, or just captured and imprisoned and sentenced for war crimes?
There are discussions in place to possibly make that happen, but there's a lot of like question marks of whether they can capture him.
Who's making plans? Is it internal in Russia, in the Russian government, or is it in other countries, or all the above?
It feels like an alliance is being formed in other countries to possibly remove him from power.
Okay. Any internal stuff going on in the Russian government to try to take him down, or are they all completely loyal?
No, there's a lot of what we would deem as not loyal. Like there's a lot of people who see him as very problematic. Okay. It's not all an agreement, but I don't see that they are directly trying to take him out.
In the end, what is the biggest cause of death in this conflict? Starvation, bombs and guns, or disease, or?
Well, a couple things. Erik said ignorance of who we are is the first thing, is the biggest cause of death. Okay. And the second is possible food shortages. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I've heard too. Russian people, will they just blindly follow Putin, or will there be civil wars in Russia?
No, they will not. They're not blindly following Putin. There is a lot of, there's been, he's showing me like, okay, this is the image. He shows me like all these different groups that are protesting actually within Russia. So that's not being widely advertised or shown. Yeah. Because there is usually within any media structure, there's an oversimplification of good, bad, evil, right? And that's not, there's not a cohesiveness in Russia over this conflict. There's a lot of people who are saying, no, this is not representative of my government, and they are protesting. So some of these protesters, it looks like, are being put in handcuffs, I'm seeing. So there are
a civil war in Russia in the next 5 years?
Yes, there's a possibility of this, because a lot of people in Russia feel like, that this is not representative of their government, but like their government is not representative. They're not paying attention to their needs.
That sounds like our government.
There's a lot of mirrors going on here.
I know, really.
You know what I mean?
Right. In light of China's control of the majority of the world's rare earth elements, mines, is Russia going to ally with China and create a war on two fronts?
In the worst possible outcome, yes. Because we're running two timelines. And how we can shift into the best possible outcome is through ourselves, through our own energy. The more of us that shift and our peace, like the walking embodiment
of
peace.
Freedom. Think of those things. No fear. Just say, just think of it as a possibility of uniting the world through our mutual desire for individual freedom.
This is not, we have to look at the bigger picture, and we have to look at the long haul. He's showing me all the truckers, the long haul. Okay. This is a coast to coast operation. This is not something that we can, how humans are needing to evolve. This is not something that's going to happen overnight.
Right.
But we need to look at this. We need to look at what happens over there is no longer over there. How can I shift this in my community, in my life? How can I be a beacon of peace and light? Those are pretty good questions.
That is. Oh, will there be the end of Mr. Putin? Will he transition from this planet anytime soon? And another question kind of like that. Will he ever be brought to justice this lifetime?
Will he transition anytime soon? No, it doesn't look like he's transitioning anytime soon. Will he be brought to justice? Well, I see that there's going to be many world leaders brought to justice for various reasons. So yes.
Awesome. Argentina is not big enough for you guys. All right. Is it true that that's where all the German war criminals, Nazis, is it true that Western media is presenting, is it true what the Western media is presenting about this war, or is the information being manipulated? Probably depends on
the yes and no again. So the true part of this, the truth is that there is a conflict. People are dying. This is affecting real people, right? We gotta remember that. Are we being manipulated? As Erik has talked about, not necessarily through me, but through lots of people on this channel, is that most people on this channel who watch this channel are aware that the media is highly manipulative. Yeah, that they are trying to keep people at a certain frequency, at a certain vibration, fear.
Why?
Because we're easier to control. Right. You know, and and simultaneously humans are coming out of a collective agreement to be under hypnosis of sorts. And so as part of this, there's kind of like an awareness that there's manipulation happening. So
yeah, I know people in my family who are being manipulated at this current time too. Will COVID new variants develop during the war?
I'm like, please say no. That's just me. There will be, so I'm seeing fall.
Any big serious bad ones?
I'm seeing fall is COVID, you know.
Okay.
Everybody, whatever. COVID happening again.
Will it be the bad strains or just you know, ones that are like really it's almost like a common cold here recently?
I don't see it as being as like horrid as the original strain of COVID. Yeah.
All right. Will the vaccines be if we get vaccinated in the fall, will that help, or will they be effective?
It won't necessarily be effective for the new strains, but it feels like the new strains are also not as potent. Okay. So,
will President Biden become ill? And could this lead to more complications with Russia and China?
He's struggling in his health, yes, already. He has quite a few health problems. And so there is a possibility that he will exit to a different plane this year. There's a possibility of that.
That's what I've heard. Does he know what's going on?
Yes and no. Okay. You know, when we have a lot of health struggles, I think it's, you know, if you've been really sick ever, you know that it's hard to focus on a lot of else.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you know, if Biden does transition, then there are no more dirty secrets to hold on, you know, as far as China and Russia are concerned, right? They won't have any leverage. Unless they have leverage on whoever's next in line.
Well, there looks like there's dirty skeletons in the closet of many elected officials.
Okay, so what is the long-term effect for Russia after this is all? Will it become more unstable? Will Putin try to get financial?
Initially, it will look like Russia is strengthened through this, but it will quickly become clear that this is it has a destabilizing effect overall. So, I can't believe
we asked this very important question. Will Russia end up taking over Ukraine, making it part of Russia? I mean, a snapshot now.
Okay. Snapshot today, there's a likelihood, yes. Okay. For a temporary period.
Oh, good. I was just thinking that. what kind of cyber attacks will America experience, most likely to experience from Putin?
I'm hearing the words banks and financial institutions.
Oh boy. Okay.
So there's like also groups that are trying to prevent cyber attacks. So this isn't a foregone conclusion, but that this is the highest likelihood of the way that the United States would be attacked from this moment.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How can we prevent the inflation that will occur in Europe? And
the United States, who's going to add on? He's saying to me, remember when I told you inflation was going to be a problem? I guess he told me that. Yep, he did tell me that. I think we did another one of these.
I remember.
So it looks like it's, how can we prevent it? I don't see it as prevented.
Reversing the energy policy for one thing. So we're energy independent. Yeah.
There's backdoor deals, invested interest in not making that happen. So it will but do not be afraid. He doesn't want us to get into fear. The most important thing we can do right now is be empowered. So what are ways that you can create things for yourself outside of the system if you need to?
Okay, here's kind of a thorny question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Would this have happened if Trump had been reelected as president?
I'm going to get a lot of hate mail, he says.
I'm just obeying the listener. I mean,
no, that's okay.
Don't shoot the messenger.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Right. No, this is not my question.
Would this have happened if Trump had been elected president? Possibly, yes. Because he's been, here's the thing. He's been kind of like planning, strategizing. This has been going on for a long time.
Well, what percent chance compared to Biden is 100%? We know that now, but
it doesn't feel as likely, but it feels like
there's a chance.
Exactly.
Okay. What can we do in our own home? Should we save as much food and just things to live off of? Is that necessary right now?
Should we save food? Planning for a rainy day, calls it a rainy day, is always a good idea. Okay. But observe your energy as you are doing this. Are you doing this from a place of scarcity, fear, I'm going to starve, that kind of feeling? Or are you doing this from a place of, it's just a good idea to have some extras around the house if anything were to happen?
Yeah.
Right. So it's just, keep in mind, everything we're doing is a reflection of what we're creating with our minds, with our subconscious minds, with our energy. So if you want to prepare, you're doing it from an empowered place. Okay.
How long will this last at this snapshot?
He also wants to add on one more thing to that, and then we can go to this question. Community is really important in the coming years. This idea of coming together. So where we can help each other is getting over our neighbors or this or that or whatever, it's like kind of getting over that and coming from a place, and he goes back to the open heart that you talked at the very beginning, this open heart that we're realizing that we have common, we're all humans. We all
want individual freedom. That's the most.
Yeah, we want freedom. We all want freedom to love our families and have, our needs taken care of. We all want common things, to love and be loved, he says. So it's very important to just realize that. And we're going to.
So important. We have the common need to love and be loved.
That's beautiful. I know. Always. Yeah.
Oh,
so
wow. That's incredible.
I feel like that should be a quote somewhere on your website.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So, sorry, what was the next question?
Oh, how long will it last at this snapshot, which can change?
It could be it could be between a year and 2 years.
Okay. Can the collective now learn how to generate and use Tesla's wall of protection? How cool. In order to prevent future outbreaks. I never heard of it. The technology has been known for decades and never used yet. Are we ready? Wall of protection.
I hear almost.
Oh, cool. Will we discuss a new form of NATO, mediating dialogue and disarmament for a peaceful and safe future for all involved?
A lot of new governing structures will be put in place. Will there be a new NATO? He calls it NATO 2.0. So,
okay. Will this be the end of the division that's caused by the woke agenda? The divisiveness?
No, not yet. No.
Will it make a dent in it?
There's a lot of things making a dent right now.
Okay, will this be the start of the downfall of the deep state and global elite and the oligarchies?
It's already begun, he says.
Good. Well, is this going to help further that downfall?
Depends on how we as collective humans are co-creating.
Okay.
Yeah, we can change the world faster if we realize our individual power right now.
Right.
Like, get quiet every day, listen to your heart, be in peace, make peace with your past. And by that, it's like forgiveness, healing, these things we are changing the world through these actions.
Okay. Now, I would like a message, if possible, from Putin's higher self, if we can, and from his personality self.
Okay. I've got his personality self first.
Okay.
He says, do not judge me as the man. Do not judge me as a man of evil. And he shows me that as a personality, he feels a little bit, I'm just relaying information again, but he feels a little bit backed into a corner somehow.
Yeah.
There are many sides to this conflict that are not being expressed. So he sees it, much differently from his higher self perspective. Just one moment. There's an opportunity here for him to overcome many lifetimes of struggle in conflict. He is choosing, he's being given a choice to overcome. So there's a lot of lifetimes of struggle, fighting, conflict. He has been given a choice to make peace within himself and his own heart, should he choose.
Would it help for us to all send love to him? I know that sounds so counterintuitive, but would it help? Love energy?
Yes.
All right, let's do it. We're all whole and part of God, even him. And okay, so that's interesting. So I want to ask you something about the Atlanta scalar thing. Today, Erik told me that the Elohim can actually, and I could put this in the energy repair, protection, and enhancement, ERPE, to decouple the adverse effects of other lives on the current life for people.
Yeah, you absolutely can.
So the Elohim is going to do that. We're going to add that. So from now on, that's going to be as of the
because also he's showing me, and I do this a lot in my work, with other beings obviously present, but he's showing me any life pattern, there's lots of past lives that have often contributed to this this really wound up pattern.
Yeah.
You know,
There's
so
a bleed through from other lives sometimes.
Like and you know,
all of a sudden gets depressed when they're 23. Well, maybe they killed themselves when they're 23 in another life. I mean, you know, there's
lots of possibilities here, but often it's really important to get to he's showing like pulling the roots out of the tree, because if we got to pull if we've got a diseased branch, we've got to get the whole thing. Right.
I'm so excited about adding that. Of course, it'll mean it's going to take longer, but that's okay. All right. So the coupon for the spring solstice is
Erik says he'll show up.
Erik with a C or Erik with a K? Erik with a K, right?
Yeah. Erik with a K 20. And 20. And then it's going to be really interesting because it's Ascended Master Amaryllis, and she's the goddess of spring, and she showed up in a dream last night to she's going to help facilitate this class, and I'm going to channel it. So it should be, and Erik says he'll show up.
Awesome. And you'll give me all the information and tell me when to plug it, when to let people know on my social media, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I will. So It's going to be March 19th and Saturday, 10 a.m. Pacific. So should be fun.
Sounds awesome. And you guys check her website out, CourtneyDillon.com, and check out channelingerik.com, AtlantaScalar.com, and the YouTubes for both of those too. And be sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell. And then of course you're going to want to share this. This video is important to share. So do share.
Yeah. And he says to you, I love you, Mom.
I love you more. Bye. Love you, Courtney. Love you, everybody out there.
Bye.
Bye.